In this video, we're going to talk about finding the volume of a cylinder. Remember first, a cylinder shape, this is something I hope you learned a long time ago, is like the shape of a tin can, the can you might eat your alphagetti out of. So we have the round circular tops and then the straight sides. The shape of a toilet roll, I'm trying to think of other things that are cylindrically shaped, kind of a battery, that sort of thing. So when we talk about volume, remember, different from perimeter and area, the volume is if we filled this up with alphagetti, how much could we fit in there? So we talk about that in terms of centimeters cubed. How many cubed, even if we have to cut them up, because this is not easy to stack cubed centimeters in. You'd have to, they're rounded edges. How many could we fit in there? Again, some brilliant person has figured out this nice formula for us to solve this equation. So if we want to find the volume of a cylinder, our formula is pi times r squared times the height, where r is the radius, h is the height, and obviously pi is 3.14, and that's probably how we're going to keep it simple like that for this. In this first example, it says, what is the volume of the cylinder? Use pi is, as we said, approximately, that's what this little thing here means, equals approximately 3.14, and round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So we know we see our height there is 3 meters, our radius is 1 meter, and we know what pi is. So we're really just filling it in and using our calculator. This question is not too challenging. Volume of a cylinder equals pi times r squared times the height. So let's fill this in. 3.14 times r squared. R is our radius, which we see is 1 squared, times our height, which is 3. One thing to remember, bed mass, order of operations, we do our exponent first. In this situation, it doesn't make too much difference because 1 squared, 1 times itself, is still 1. I'm just going to rewrite that one more time. 3.14 times 1 times 3. Before plugging it into my calculator, it's always wise to take a moment to think. 3-ish times 1 is 3, times 3 is 9. Should be around 9. I'll enter it now. And the calculator says my answer is 9.42 meters cubed. So we could fit 9-ish of like cubes that were a meter on each side, height, base, and width in this cylinder. It must be a pretty big cylinder. Remember to put that little cubed on there, and that does make sense because we said our estimate was about 9. So good for that one. In this example, we're again just plugging the numbers into our formula for the volume of the cylinder. What is the volume of this cylinder? Use a pi being approximately equal to 3.14 and round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Remember that because they'll probably mark you wrong if you don't do that part. So let's start with what we know. Volume of the cylinder equals pi r squared times the height. So we're going to say pi is 3.14 times our radius. Don't fall for the trick. The diameter is 6, so the radius must be 3 meters. And it's radius squared, so 3 meters squared times our height, we can see here, is also 3 meters. So I'm going to go ahead, order of operations, and do the exponent first. 3 squared, 3 times 3 is 9. So I'm going to put that in there. 3.14 times 9 meters times 3 meters. Take a moment, let's come up with an estimate. 3-ish times 9 is 27. 27 times 3, I know 30 times 3 is 90, so somewhere in between 80 and 90. We'll see, I'll plug it in. So I put 3.14 times 9 times 3 into my calculator, and the calculator says it is 84.78, which is very close to what we had estimated. And this is now in cubic meters, so that is the volume of our cylinder. So that would be our answer up here. This example says, what is the volume of this cylinder? Use pi equals approximately 3.14 and round your answer to the nearest hundredth. Ooh, I forgot to mention that in the last example. Make sure we do this part when we enter our answer into the program. So what do we know? Let's write it out, our formula. Volume of a cylinder equals pi times r squared times height. So pi we have is 3.14. The radius, careful, they give us the diameter is 8, so our radius must be 4. 4 meters squared times our height, you can see right here, is 7 meters. So let's start with our exponent. 4 squared, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 meters. Then we'll put those other numbers again. So 3.14 times 16 meters times 7 meters. Do an estimate. 3 times 16, 3 times 10 is 30, 3 times 6 is 18, so 48-ish, so 50-ish times 7, 50 times 2 is 100, so that's 200, 300, 350-ish. Let's find out, see what the calculator says. And the calculator says they multiply to 351.68 meters cubed, and we don't even have to worry about rounding to the nearest hundredth because that's what it came out as on the calculator. I guess if you had just pressed the pi button on your calculator rather than just written in 3.14, then you might have some more digits that you'd have to round to the nearest hundredth, but we didn't have that issue. Volume of our cylinder. This example, the last one we're going to look at, says the volume of this cylinder is 6,358.5 cubic millimeters. What is the height? Use pi is approximately equal to 3.14 and round your answer to the nearest hundredth. So this is another one of those where they've given us the volume already, and we need to use our algebraic understanding to solve for the height. Okay, so let's plug in what we know. We know the volume of the cylinder, so I'm going to write that first. 6,358.5 millimeters cubed equals pi, we know, is 3.14 times the radius I can see up here is 15 squared times the height. We don't know the height. I'm going to go ahead and just solve this exponent already because I don't like seeing it there in the on our page. It's distracting me. So what's 15 squared? I'm going to look at the calculator for that. 15 times 15. And 15 times 15, according to the calculator, is 225. So now we have equals 3.14 times 225 times the height. Over here, 6,358.5. So now we're just going to try and isolate h and get rid of these. I'm going to start by dividing by this number because this is multiplication. I'm going to divide by 225, divide by 225, cancels out here. I'll do that on my calculator. 6,358.5 divided by 225. So that equals 28.26. Then we have left here 3.14 times the height. I'm just going to switch those around, times 3.14. We can do that. We know that from our algebra. And I want to get rid of that 3.14, so I'm going to divide by 3.14, divide by 3.14, cancels out on this side. I'll do that in my calculator, 28.26 divided by 3.14, and that comes out to be 9. So 9 equals our height. That was really straightforward. So our answer is 9 millimeters. That's it for this section. Good luck.